Cork, as you'll be aware, haven't played since the end of last month after their impressive unbeaten run in the group stages. There are two late changes. Pamela Mackey returns to the team in place of Ellen Murphy, and captain Linda Collins is replaced by Saoirse McCarthy. Laura Hayes is one of the most improved players on this team in 21, while all-star Hannah Looney has extra motivation as she was part of the football team which lost to Meath in the semi-final, the All-Ireland semi-final a few weeks ago. Katrina Mackey, Aisling Thompson have formed an effective partnership. Thompson's experience, of course, crucial to this group. Ciara O'Sullivan, one of the newer breed who've made big impressions for Cork this year, while Amy O'Connor is always good for a goal or two. The Kilkenny team, this side includes 5 of last year's all-star selection, and Dalton has returned to the subs bench because of the injury to goalkeeper Emma Kavanagh. Claire Phelan and Davina Tobin are 2 of those all-stars, and they're 2 of the best markers in the game today. Kellyanne Doyle, that is a remarkable recovery from her shoulder injury. She had to go off injured in the Wexford game. She was not expected to be fit today, but thankfully for Kilkenny she does start. Steffi Fitzgerald also stood out this year. Her move to the middle of the field to partner Grace Walsh has benefited both players, and Denise Gall, the current senior player of the year, scored a goal and 6 the last day. They have major threats in Mary O'Connell and Miriam Walsh. Joy.
Well, it's funny, when Ursula was listening to you there, Dara, her jaw actually hit the floor when you said that Kellyanne Doyle was definitely starting.
Yeah, she's made resilient, you know, she's such a leader on this Kilkenny team, and I'm surprised that she is starting because she looked very uncomfortable and in a lot of pain last weekend. But it just shows the character of this girl, because she's come back from serious injury before, and she's been one of the main players for Kilkenny this year again. So she would have been a huge loss to that Kilkenny defence if she wasn't playing, so hopefully she'll pull through the 60 minutes.
You talk about all the tactical battles that are going to happen today, and the importance of Denise Gall to Kilkenny. Who's going to be charged with trying to dampen down the influence she has in the game?
Possibly Hannah Looney, maybe, you know, and it depends on where Denise Gall actually starts. Like, I'd say Grace Walsh will pick up Aisling Thompson. That is going to be a ferocious battle in the middle of the field. Like, tactically, both manners will have their homework done. And, you know, you mentioned there, Ursula, about Kilkenny, and they're having confidence, and, you know, they're building the character in that team. And like you see, Kilkenny could go down even in the league final. Their character, that in that third quarter they shot 1-5 without reply. They came out after the second half and they absolutely blazed into Galway, and it's the belief, I think, that's building it within that team, and I think we're going to see a lot of it today.
You get the impression there's belief building within Cork though as well, don't you? Yeah,
and Cork are so dangerous when there's not been too much spoken about them, and Paddy will be happy enough with that, because all the talk is on, you know, Kilkenny and their form this year and winning the league and trying to achieve the back-to-back, but Cork are coming in, you know, nice and quiet, focusing on their own thing, and everyone's saying maybe that month-long break is going to go against them, but Paddy knows that they're back in Croke Park. Their record here in Croke Park is impressive. They haven't lost here since 2016 All-Ireland final, so that's a long time. So they're happy anytime they come to Croke Park, so I think it's going to be a brilliant game.
What way do you see them trying to break down Kilkenny?
I think running at that Kilkenny defence, like Wexford did a couple of times. You know, the last day they ran at the full back line, and, you know, they created a couple of goal chances. I think if Cork can do that today, if they can create a goal chance or two and get a goal, you know, that would be serious and cracking Kilkenny.
Are you, Anne-Marie Hayes, predicting a Cork win here?
No, I'm going to go for Kilkenny.
They're great, but
I think that Kilkenny have too much firepower up front for the Cork backs.
And I think Kilkenny's ability to win tight games at crucial stages in the game is going to be the difference.
Okay, just a reminder, this does go to extra time and then a free-taking competition if it ends level. We'll be joining our commentary team of Elaine and Dara Thresh, our on the Lean.
So we are just about ready to go. Kilkenny won the toss here in Croke Park, and they are going to attack the Davin stand end. As you look at the referee, John Dermody from Westmeath, and there is a bit of a breeze. I know, Elaine, it's always tricky to decipher who has actually got the breeze, but looking at the flags down on Hill 16, the breeze is helping Cork, or Kilkenny indeed, in the first half. So we are underway. This age-old rivalry between these two counties. That's Laura Tracy. And now one of the new players in, Saoirse McCarthy for Cork, running at Kilkenny straight away. They need a big start here, and they've got it from Saoirse McCarthy. Introduced for Linda Collins, the captain, and Cork lead by a point to no score inside half a minute.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Saoirse McCarthy would have been included in this team. You know, wide open field here in Croke Park, and they'll be looking to use her legs to run at that Kilkenny defence.
Decent tuck out, and the ball gone for a Cork line ball. That was Pamela Mackey, who is about to take the line ball. She took a little bit of a break from the Cork setup for a while, but certainly very definitely back in the fold today. So the ball back in play. There's no way past Kellyanne Doyle, and that really is a remarkable recovery for her. That's Chloe Sigerson, one of the 2020 All-Stars. Megan Farrell, the Kilkenny captain, across and gets help from Kellyanne Doyle. And Grace Walsh, the 29-year-old, fires the ball forward. That's Steffi Fitzgerald, who's started in the half-forward line. Coming across to this now as Katie Power is in fantastic form. Power across, a goal chance for Kilkenny, and that's a brilliant save by Amy Lee, but the danger is still not clear. Kilkenny trying to get a score out of the attack at least, but a wonderful stop from Amy Lee of Napirshig and Cork, keeping Kilkenny out, and that'll give the goalkeeper and the defence a huge boost. Laura Hayes flicks that forward. Chloe Sigerson just letting the ball do the work and firing the field. This could be quite a turnaround. This is Orla Cronin, and Orla Cronin has put that one wide. It would have been a remarkable turnaround, but Kilkenny almost in for a goal.
Yeah, super work from Katie Perry and along the end line. Saw the run across of Aoife Doyle inside, and Aoife will be disappointed that she didn't finish. You know, Kilkenny will need to be more ruthless in front of goal, and that's an opportunity missed.
So Kilkenny, well, just plucking the ball away. That's right down on top of Laura Tracy. Now Hannah Looney, one of the dual stars in this Cork team. Aisling Thompson, the Milford player with huge experience. Denise Gaw with the green helmet, easy to pick out, and lets the ball go in long to the full forward line. And Kilkenny's Steffi Fitzgerald has it, the 21-year-old. There was just one player ahead of her to aim at, and Libby Coppinger of Cork was in the way. And Libby Coppinger giving that ball away to Mary O'Connell of Kilkenny, and it's dropped into Amy Lee. The goalkeeper had 5 years as understudy to Aoife Murray, who was with Marty earlier on. A fairly frantic start. Now it's Amy O'Connor, plays with St Vincent's in Cork. The referee is playing an advantage. There was none accruing. Her jersey was being pulled back, and it's a free in to Cork and a chance for them to get their second point.
Yeah, and that'll be a huge match-up inside on the edge of the square there. Davina Tobin picking up Amy O'Connor. You know, they renewed rivalries where they left off last year down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and Amy getting the better on that occasion. But Kilkenny will be disappointed that they haven't troubled the scoreboard a little bit more early on. They've had chances up front and they just haven't taken them, so that's something that they'll have to work on.
So Cork haven't played since the group stages. Kilkenny, well, you may have seen them in action against Wexford last weekend. They were absolutely scintillating in the first half, and well, Wexford came back at them very strongly in the second half. They lost against Kilkenny, lost against Galway in the group stage, so that free has been missed by Orla Cronin. So that is a let-off for Kilkenny. Megan Farrell is the Kilkenny captain, and she belts that up to the corner. Laura Tracy coming across, sweeping up. Gemma O'Connor was the old centre-back, or last year's centre-back, I should say, and decided to retire, and Laura Tracy has made that number 6 jersey her own. Hannah Looney of Cork. They've started well. They should be leading by more than a point, and now it's Katrina Mackey, her twin sister, brought into the starting 15 today. Katrina Mackey plays that back out the field to try and get to Chloe Sigerson. It's a Cork line ball. Frantic stuff.
Yeah, well defended by Colette Dormer there in along the end line. You know, Mackey's posed a real threat since she's moved up front. You know, had been going well at midfield, and obviously thought he felt a bit more firepower needed up front, so had moved in there and has been scoring well. So Dormer did really well on that occasion to hold her out and force the recycle.
Chloe Sigerson with the cut, which has gone wide, and they're racking up the wides, Cork. That's 3 now.
Yeah, and what's the killer then is the quick restart. So that's the change in rule this year, and you know, the quick restart, and Aoife Norris in the Kilkenny goal is quick to get the ball back out and into play and try to find the Kilkenny player.
That's Kilkenny's Katie Nolan. She's only 24 years of age. Aoife Doyle in the other corner is 21. Ball blocked down, good defending from Cork. But Kilkenny applying more pressure, and the referee has given them a free in. Mary O'Connell was close to that, and Aoife Doyle, and the free conceded. This should be the equaliser.
Yeah, and Katie Parra starting on the edge of the square in there, you know, a real focal point for the Kilkenny attack in there, and she's 2 real speedsters working off her then in Steffi Fitzgerald and Aoife Doyle inside. So, you know, the aim would be maybe to get Katie on as much high ball as possible and have the girls feeding off her, and Mary O'Connell on that occasion coming in on the end of the ruck and winning the free.
Here's Denise Gall. They could have been in for a goal earlier on, but that is their first point. 6 minutes into this All-Ireland semi-final with Galway waiting.
Yeah, and Cork will be conscious of any frees that they give away anywhere from, you know, middle of the field up. Denise Gall is well capable of striking them over from there, and had a great weekend on the frees last weekend, so we'll be hoping to continue that today.
Chloe Sigerson couldn't hold on to it first time. There's Kellyanne Doyle. Shoulder certainly seems to be fine. And that is a foul by Chloe Sigerson. Remember, with this year's rule changes, players are allowed minimal contact, in inverted commas. Minimal, Elaine?
Yeah, not sure whose minimal is the benchmark, but I'm sure Kellyanne's shoulder is going to get a good few tests before the day is out today.
So Denise Gall, the wind is helping. That's outside the Cork 65-metre line. Difficult for the players to pick that ball out with the sun in their eyes, the defenders and the attackers. But now coming away with it is Pamela Mackey, and she sets up Laura Hayes, one of the most improved players on this Cork team. A very talented cross-country runner as well. Here's Megan Farrell, Thomastown in Kilkenny, and off she goes. There's open road in front of her. Fiona Keating trying to get back and make a challenge, but Farrell has dropped that one short, and Amy Lee will deal with those all day, the Cork goalkeeper. That was for Chloe Sigerson. Now Laura Tracy, and it's a line ball to the reigning All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, and Fiona Keating at centre forward on Megan Farrell's an interesting choice. You know, Orla Conan would have played there for much of last year and has been out with a little bit of injury, and she's inside in the full forward line now, being picked up by Michelle T. And so a couple of changes in the Cork attack there, maybe just trying to get a bit of energy into that half forward line and try and run at that Kilkenny defence.
And we did expect that, Elaine, from both of these managers, Paddy Murray and Brian Downing, that there'd be, well, the chess stuff, you know, of moving the pieces around the board, and nothing as you would have expected it beforehand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when the 2 team sheets came out during the week, we all kind of discarded them a little bit, thinking that won't be the teams that will line out today, and credit to Kilkenny, it is the one, and that's down probably to the remarkable recovery of Kellyanne Doyle in the week.
That was Denise Gall's sideline cut. Now Mary O'Connell with the blue helmet on. Good block down by Laura Hayes. Aisling Thompson across. Cork under pressure. Maeve Cahalane. Her sister Orla was playing on the Cork minor team yesterday, and Maeve Cahalane was fouled, and that's a free out to Cork.
Yeah, Steffi Fitzgerald lost the hurl in the tackle there, and you know, continue to tackle. I think we're always run the risk of giving away a free when you're tackling without the hurl like that. So a free for Cork now, and you know, they're doing well at the back. They're coping well. Kilkenny have created opportunities, but Cork have been getting in good blocks and good hooks and really snuffing out that Kilkenny attack so far.
Amy Lee takes the free for Cork. Megan Farrell has seen a fair bit of the ball for Kilkenny in that half-back line. Neither team has been shooting the lights out, although Kilkenny could easily have been in for a goal. That's Orla Cronin, All-Star last year. Hannah Looney. Aisling Thompson. They're hanging on to the ball, Cork. Fiona Keating has it now. And the shot from way out the field, that is some effort from Chloe Sigerson. That's a huge point from Chloe Sigerson. Cork lead by 2-1.
Yeah, and importantly for Cork, I think it was really, really well recycled, really good use of the ball. You know, Orla Cronin initially in the corner could easily have been turned used the ball really, really well and eventually worked it to Sigerson, who will score from distance.
The wind helping Aoife Norris, the Kilkenny goalkeeper, with those puck-outs. Now off goes Aoife Doyle. She's had a really good year. Pamela Mackey behind her. Doyle, very difficult to stop. Saoirse McCarthy came across, and the Cork defenders are making life very difficult for the Kilkenny attackers. Libby Coppinger. Laura Hayes. Katie Power there with her, and Power's fouled her. So that's a free out to Cork.
Yeah, Katie just a little bit hand on the back, I think, and Mackey knew that she was coming behind her, could always go down and under the pressure of it, and got the free, and Cork looked to take it quickly, but the ref, I think, has called it back now, so it will be a free for Cork. But as I said, putting savage pressure on the Kilkenny forwards in there, and there look to be little chinks of trying to create something, but they just haven't come off yet.
I actually mentioned it, that Elaine, that Kilkenny have created 8 scoring chances, and they've just 1 point to show for their efforts so far.
Yeah, and it'll be disappointing because normally that's an area we expect Kilkenny, that when they're dominant out the field, that they do make it count on the scoreboard, and they haven't been able to do that today.
Katrina Mackey. That's Claire Phelan, and she held onto the ball too long, more than the time needed to take the 4 steps. She's not at all impressed with the referee's call, but I don't think when we see this again she'll be able to have too many arguments with it.
No, I think her initial reaction was that the hurl was pulled out of her own hand maybe, and she kind of told the ref, what else could I do maybe. But, you know, again, great pressure from the Cork attack on this occasion, and they weren't letting her out easy with that ball. You know, Kilkenny will be disappointed. That's a ball they should have dealt with better. In
fairness to Claire, she had a point when you looked at that replay, didn't she?
Yeah, I think she initially even held up her hand as if to say, ref, are you going to give me the free, or will I hang on for it? And when he didn't, then he blew her for the overcarry. So harsh on Claire, but, you know, it just pushes Cork that little bit ahead again.
Orla Cronin with the free. That'll do her confidence the world of good. There's Paddy Murray. That's Chloe Sigerson. She's had a fabulous game for Cork so far. We've only been playing for 12 minutes, and that's a really good ball up towards Orla Cronin. Well, it just beat her out of play, unfortunately, but the idea was sound, just a bit off on the execution.
And Aoife Norris will be disappointed with that from a puck-out point of view. You know, she put Kellyanne Doyle under a lot of pressure there with the ball that went out, and Chloe, if that one had been measured a little bit better, could have put her under difficulty inside with Orla Cronin.
So they went shorter that time to Megan Farrell, but Maeve Cahalane comes out with the ball. Cork and Kilkenny will meet in the minor final, and Orla Cahalane will be playing on that team. That's Colette Dormer from Barrow Rangers. Cork working really hard to try and put pressure on the ball, and the Kilkenny player in possession of it, but Colette Dormer had other ideas. Brilliant block down from Laura Hayes. And here come Cork again. Chloe Sigerson. That's a nice little flick inside to Katrina Mackey. She should score, Katrina Mackey, and she hasn't. Signalled as wide. That's a let off for Kilkenny from the Douglas midfielder Katrina Mackey. Katie Nolan for Kilkenny. They've been creating opportunities but not converting them. They've got a free inside their own 65-metre line.
Yeah, and likewise from a Cork point of view, you know, the couple of chances they've had up front, they haven't been maybe able to take them all, and you'd hope they don't come to rue that as the game ticks in. You know, I suppose a little bit of nervousness maybe starting off from both sets of teams. It's very tactical, players matchups and stuff all over the field, but the scoring just not really flowing at the moment for either side.
Kilkenny's only point was that free from Denise Gall in the 6th minute. We're now in the 14th minute, and that's a big strike from Denise Gall. Batted down by Amy Lee, the goalkeeper, and Ciara O'Sullivan back there. And Cork confident to play it out. Chloe Sigerson is looking for this up the field. Maeve Cahalane is going from wing to wing. And now Saoirse McCarthy just couldn't bring the ball under control. Kilkenny haven't been able to get into their stride in an attacking sense. You have to give Cork the credit for stunting them. That was Megan Farrell coming out with the ball. Now Miriam Walsh, Grace's cousin. She's got space, Miriam Walsh. It's a fair distance out. The wind is helping, and that one has gone wide.
Yeah, and just poor use of the ball there from Kilkenny. You know, they're inside, and Mary maybe just had too much space in front of her and looked to carry it maybe a little bit further and maybe draw an opponent and create something inside.
That was Kilkenny's first wide. I mentioned all those chances that they've created, and that's credit to the pressure that Cork have put them under. That defence working really hard. Mary O'Connell, really nice ball into Katie Power, and Katie Power has got that point. That has gone over the bar, so that's better for Kilkenny. That might settle them into this now. Cork have put them under pressure. Cork lead 3-2.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Katie Power is in on the edge of the square there. As I said, a super hand in there and well able to take a score like that, and she'll look to pull Libby Coppinger over and back the field all day in there, and if Kilkenny can hit her with enough ball, she's certainly posing a threat in there.
So it's been tight and tense and very tactical at the first half water break. Cork lead Kilkenny by 3 points to 2. Ursula Jacob, your thoughts on what we've seen so far?
Yeah, I think Kilkenny will be disappointed with some of their shot selection. You know, a number of balls have dropped short and, you know, very uncharacteristic from Kilkenny, but credit to Cork defensively. I think they've had the upper hand on them at this stage. But still, Kilkenny are only going 1 point down, so they'll be happy enough with that. We can see glimpses of when Cork are running at the Kilkenny defence, it poses problems. You know, Saoirse McCarthy got a super score, and then, you know, the patient build-up from Cork for that Chloe Sigerson point was excellent. So Cork's use of possession is definitely better in that first quarter, but Kilkenny will be happy enough only going 1 point behind.
Okay, Ursula, thanks very much indeed. You're looking at Brian Dowling, the Kilkenny manager, just going through things with his team. He's a fair bit to say. Steffi Fitzgerald, the Kilkenny number 8, just at the start of that water break, was actually lying down on the ground and getting some treatment. She didn't look all that comfortable, but I think she's going to go back. She has gone back out onto the field for the resumption of the game.
Yeah, I think Brian will probably just look for a little bit more work rate up front from the forwards. You know, they're probably letting the Cork backs out a little bit too easy, and that's where Cork love to build from. You know, they've no problem filtering back half forwards or midfielders and attacking then in numbers. You know, they have huge runners in that out the field there, so they look to run the ball into the Kilkenny attack. So I think Brian will just look for a little bit more work rate from his inside forward line to try and break down that Cork attack.
So Amy Lee will have the puck out to restart the game. Hannah Looney, out of picture, was aiming for the ball. That's a huge puck out from Amy Lee, right down on top of Megan Farrell and that Kilkenny defence. Here is Katrina Mackey, and she didn't get hold of that, but she actually got hold of it well enough to put it over. It looked for a moment as if it was going to just drop down into the left hand of Aoife Norris, but a good strike from Katrina Mackey. 4-2 Cork.
Yeah, and again, I think of all Kilkenny will be disappointed what they didn't deal with better. You know, it dropped down on Megan Farrell there and dropped to the ground. They looked to have possession of it, and Mackey then just swooped in and got that super point.
That's Aisling Thompson who's fired that in long towards Katrina Mackey, who's in at the full forward position. Now Orla Cronin, and Orla Cronin slots that one between the posts. So 2 quick scores for Cork. They now stretch that out to 5 points to 2, going well for them.
Yeah, lovely little bit of control from Orla Cronin in the corner there, knocked it down ahead of Michelle Tehan and ran out onto it afterwards, and a super point from her. And Cork really, you know, up in the ante now since that water break.
Davina Tobin for Kilkenny just shovels that out to Claire Phelan. Had that free against her earlier on. Laura Hayes, Cork half back line, moving well and winning a lot of loose balls. Saoirse McCarthy for Cork knew she was going to be hooked from behind, knew the contact wasn't going to be great. Kellyanne Doyle, Megan Farrell. There'll be no panic from the League and All-Ireland champions at this stage, but they have just not been allowed to get into any sort of rhythm. They're going to have a free in. Denise Gall is trotting over to line this one up already. It's gone against Laura Hayes.
Yeah, Mary O'Connell there winning the free, just a hurl to the back of the head from Laura Hayes. And, you know, Mary really has yet to get into this game for Kilkenny, as have a lot of their forwards. But, you know, as you said, credit to the Cork backs. It's the pressure they're putting under them, and they're not making anything easy. I think that's maybe what's causing some of the poor shot selection from Kilkenny up front.
So Denise had an effort from a similar position not so long ago. How will this one fare? Well, that has gone wide, only their second. And a little grimace on the face of Denise Gall. Hannah Looney of Cork. Laura Tracy letting that go long. Megan Farrell has been really prominent for Kilkenny. The captain, the centre half-back, Orla Cronin, is there, and Fiona Keating of Cork as well, and Megan Farrell doing it all herself. That's a huge effort from the Kilkenny captain.
Yeah, super, and she's had a real influence on this game from the start, you know, a central figure at the heart of the Kilkenny defence there, and she's doing really, really well, sweeping up ball, and, you know, again, under real pressure from Fiona Keating there, and did really well to keep it in down along the sideline, and probably knew she wasn't going to get out with the strike, and earned her free well.
So Claire Phelan, the all-star fullback, is going across to take the free for Kilkenny. Just 2 scores for them, separated by 9 minutes, the 6th and the 15th minute, and since the water break, Cork have scored twice. 2 points to Kilkenny's no score. Aisling Thompson. Massive work rate from the Milford midfielder. Now Amy Lee under pressure, Libby Coppinger as well, and Kilkenny have turned the ball over. Katie Nolan, a brilliant pick-up from Nolan, and Nolan gets through, and through for the point. Well, Cork only themselves to blame in that situation. They had this under control. Kilkenny in for point number 3.
Yeah, and that's the work rate I think we were talking about, maybe trying to get from that Cork forward, you know. Credit to Aoife Norris there, Aoife Doyle, she stayed there long enough, got the hook, turned it over, and Katie Nolan looked to slip inside and could possibly have gone for goal with that one, but happy to take the point.
So again, Amy Lee just pucking the ball down on top of the Cork half-forward line. Ciara O'Sullivan there. Kilkenny have lost the ball. Great work again from Cork. Hannah Looney out to Chloe Sigerson from 44 metres away. Just a beautiful strike through the sliotar, and that one converted easily. Cork, when they get in, they're getting the scores easier than Kilkenny are. 6-3.
Yeah, super response from Cork, and again Hannah Looney involved in the middle of the field. She's so often the play creator there for Cork, and again Chloe Sigerson sitting out in that pocket, and as I said, well able to score from distance.
So Miriam Walsh, Kilkenny need to respond, and Walsh has got away from Saoirse McCarthy, has to score from here, and well, it actually went wide, but the referee will go back. He was playing an advantage, so it's going to be a free in, and Denise Gall will fancy this one. We're in the 21st minute of the first half.
Yeah, Miriam Walsh, a really, really strong run. When she gets her momentum up and ducks that head down, she's always going to win herself a free, and you know, credit to Cork, they got back, got the half hook, but Miriam was aware she had the advantage, so took the shot on, and a chance, as he said, now for Denise Gall.
You have the pace, run with her. Run with her.
You can hear the instructions been shouted in to both teams. Here's Denise Gall, and that is a very nice strike and a good point from Denise Gall.
Yeah,
to bring them back to within 2.
Probably happy to get one now that hasn't been from 65 or 70 yards out, just to get her confidence back in again. You know, you could see the head drop a little bit maybe when some of the further out ones weren't quite going her way, but happy now to get that one on this board and get back into the game.
Cork, Amy Lee, well, under instruction to puck the ball long. Here's Hannah Looney, and in fairness, they have got a fair bit of joy out of it. Here's Chloe Sigerson. She's had an amazing first half, absolutely brilliant performance. Her work rate, her energy, and the display of point scoring, something else to behold. Cork 7, Kilkenny 4.
And again, it came from that duo, Hannah Looney out to Chloe Sigerson. You know, real strong running of Hannah Looney, and draws the defender every single time, and Chloe Sigerson is nearly always off the back of the ruck then waiting for her.
That's Kellyanne Doyle who's marking Chloe Sigerson. Libby Coppinger got out to that, but Kilkenny have it with Mary O'Connell starting to be more prominent for Kilkenny. Steffi Fitzgerald can run, she's got serious pace. Oh, that's a brilliant interception by Laura Hayes. Just flicked out in front of Laura Tracy, and Hayes on the wraparound goes again and then just belts the ball long. Katrina Mackey sprinting out to the corner. She has Colette Dormer behind her, and Katrina Mackey really been pressed hard for possession. Amy O'Connor is trying to dig the ball out. Fiona Keating finally does that for Cork, and Amy O'Connor desperate to make space. She's lost the stick and shows the football skills, and it's a free out.
Yeah, I think blew her maybe for dropping the hurl on that occasion. I think she might have suffered the same fate as Claire Phelan did in that earlier free. But, you know, credit to Colette Dormer again. They're out close to Mackey on the sideline and kept her under pressure the whole way. And huge work right there from Megan Farrell and Davina Tobin as well to turn over the ball and earn the free for Kilkenny.
Since the water break, Cork outscoring Kilkenny by 4 points. That long ball in to the Kilkenny full forwards. Not really working for Kilkenny, it's working for Cork because they're able to get it straight back out the field. That was Ciara O'Sullivan from Newcestown. Kilkenny turned the ball over. Denise Gall, brilliant block down by Aisling Thompson. More pressure. The Cork midfield and defence have been able to pressurise the Kilkenny attackers. Hannah Looney. Saoirse McCarthy. Miriam Walsh there with her. That's a lovely ball up towards Orla Cronin. Taking on her player, forced back. Megan Farrell was there with her. Sigerson just flicks it down into the ground for Fiona Keating. Trying to get it a little bit closer to the Kilkenny goal. Pressure put on her. That's what the Kilkenny defence normally do so well. They manage to snuff out the attacks. Laura Tracy, that was a little overhit, but Hannah Looney keeps the Cork attack going. Ciara O'Sullivan finding it tricky to get into the game. That's Katie Nolan in a deep position for the All-Ireland champions. It's come through to Katie Power, and Power weaving one way, then the other. Libby Coppinger keeping the pressure on her, and Coppinger did enough to put Katie Power off. That didn't find the target at all, and Amy Lee gets Cork going forward again. The serious pace to this game. Saoirse McCarthy. Cork with a 3-point lead. Laura Hayes. There goes that ball direct and long, and that's Davina Tobin across for Kilkenny. The white helmet, number 4, Grace Walsh. And now there's an awful lot of space for Mary O'Connell from Clara. They get the ball in quickly. Hannah Looney sweeping up the Cork half-back line. They've been super. Hannah Looney, Laura Tracy, Laura Hayes. Aisling Thompson. You can imagine that the first half and what we've seen in the first 25 minutes, an awful lot of what Paudie Murray planned for Cork has worked out really well for them. Chloe Sigerson just ran into black and amber traffic. Megan Farrell trying to pick the ball up legally. Another bit of a scrum. Fiona Keating careful not to give away the free. Kellyanne Doyle, Denise Gall lets that go in long. Again, very tight marking from the Cork defence. Laura Hayes, the ball just ran away from her, and now there's a bit of an opening. A gap for Kellyanne Doyle. Has had to do a lot of work going back towards her own goal, and Kellyanne Doyle slots the ball between the posts. That's a really nice point from the player who wasn't expected to start today.
Yeah, and that's what Kellyanne does best, you know, breaking out of that half-back line. She's a really, really strong runner and super striker of the ball when she gets up front there. And I think the Kilkenny midfielder are just maybe starting to get a little bit of a grip around the middle where Cork had been so dominant, and that is where Kilkenny built from for that win last week against Wexford.
Laura Tracy, Amy O'Connor running out with Davina Tobin. And Amy O'Connor has the ball. They say she's good for a goal or two in every game. That was just a bit high for Fiona Keating. Ciara O'Sullivan there. The Kilkenny defence swarm round the ball carrier and managed to turn it over. Great defending. Here's Michelle Tehan. No way out there. Katrina Mackey for Cork. They turn the ball over. It's back out with Orla Cronin. Great block down. That's more like it from the Kilkenny defence. Hannah Looney. And the referee has given Cork a free in the middle of the field. A punch of the air and delight from Hannah Looney.
Yeah, it's a big score, you know. I think the Kilkenny point from Kellyanne Doyle there a couple of minutes ago was a big score for Kilkenny after that passage of play, and you know, Cork will be glad now to have a scoring chance again. Chloe Sigerson again from equally as prolific from frees at distance as she is from play, so she'll have a shot at this.
Yeah, she's got 4 points in the game, Chloe Sigerson. Slight problem for Colette Dormer. Just the block down on Orla Cronin.
Yeah, super block from Denise Gall again, back in her own half-back line. You know, we're so used to Denise Gall shooting the lights out from scoring, but I think she's shown the last couple of games that she's equally as good back in defence as she is there, and you know, probably a little bit quieter from play at the moment, and that's probably maybe down to Cork's work rate around the middle of the field.
Now Chloe Sigerson, well, she knew from the moment that she struck that it was going between the posts. That's a really good strike. 8-5 to Cork. Just the minute she hit the ball, she hit it, she started to sprint towards that left half forward position, and there she is under the puck out. Kilkenny have it with Kellyanne Doyle, but she's gifted it straight to Orla Cronin. Amy O'Connor. Great win of the ball from Amy O'Connor, and she couldn't match it with the finish though, but actually the referees called them back for a free in. She was been fouled, he was playing an advantage, John Dermody.
Yeah, a little tug of the jersey, I think, maybe from Davina Tobin there when she felt that Amy O'Connor had slipped away from her inside, and you know, got back, forced the pressure and off the shot, but called back for the advantage, and a chance now again for Orla Cronin to just stretch that Cork lead another little bit.
Orla Cronin has got 2, 1 free, 1 from play, and that is her second converted free. And heading towards half-time, Cork with a healthy cushion, Elaine.
Yeah, they've just, you know, they've been able to snuff out any Kilkenny chances up front, and when they've gotten their chances down there, you know, since that water break, they really have converted any possession that they've had, and you know, they are putting Kilkenny under a lot of pressure.
Denise Gall, Cork have outscored Kilkenny in this second quarter, I suppose, since the first half water break by 6 points to 3. And Cork, well, their defenders winning their individual battles. That's Laura Tracy coming out with the ball, Hannah Looney in this stellar half-back line. The hurl was held there by Katrina Mackey, so it's a free out. We could all see it. 1 additional minute at the end of the first half.
Yeah, and Colette Dormer has had a great first half so far, and Katrina Mackey in there, as you said, coming into the game, you know, she was one of Cork's top scorers inside in that full forward line, and Colette Dormer has done a real job on her so far today, out in front and hurled from in front and at all times.
So that's up towards Miriam Walsh. Hannah Looney again across. And Hannah Looney has turned the ball over. Maeve Cahalane left it after her, so pressure from the Kilkenny forwards. Laura Hayes gets involved now. Plays her Camogie with St. Catherine's, and Cork stayed calm. And Chloe Sigerson from halfway, she's done absolutely everything brilliantly in the match so far, and there is another example of it, and another brilliant long-range point. They lead by double scores.
Yeah, and look, that's going to have to be a concern for Kilkenny at half-time. Chloe Sigerson has had that many shots on the goal, you know, and she's not missing today. She's able to shoot from distance, so Kilkenny need to put someone on her and tighten up and cut out those opportunities.
Well, we're heading towards the end of the first half. It's been a very good first half for the Cork team, aiming to dethrone and end the reign of the 2020 All-Ireland champions. So the minute of additional time is up, and Brian Dowling and his management team will have a fair bit to say to the players at half-time. Paudie Murray will want more of the same, because the underdogs are leading at half-time. It is Cork who are in control of this All-Ireland semi-final. They lead the champions Kilkenny by 10 points to 5. Commercial break to come, and then analysis from Joanne and the panel after that.
We're back for a new series following the staff and patients at Ireland's only dedicated cat hospital.
Yeah, I love you too.
There's so many things that you don't know about your own cat. They are really, truly mysterious animals.
Humans definitely have it a lot easier with how they get their temperature checked, so...
You never know what's going to walk through the door.
You're an awkward girl.
All new Cat Hospital, Friday at 8:30 on RTE1 and RTE Player.
Dairygold is made using natural ingredients and tastes so good that when you eat it, you can't help but make the world that little bit gooder.
Lovely shrubbery.
Goodness. Spread. Dairygold. Spread the goodness.
We are born. The sides are level, and the game begins. Fear is a tough opponent. It can take an early. Courage is more unpredictable. It takes courage to play the game of your life. And only you can decide the final result. Alliance.
Off interiors at B&Q. That's 20% off coloured emulsion, 20% off laminate flooring, and 20% off cushions and curtains. So whether it's your sanctuary or where coffee mornings and boogie nights come to life, home is what you make it. 20% off interiors at B&Q. You can do it.
At 3, we've curated a range of connected products for you. Switch to 3 and select any top-of-the-range smartphone, starting from free, and choose one of these connected music gifts. Switch today, in-store or at 3.ie. 3 for a better connected life.
I mentioned at half-time in the first of this year's All-Ireland semi-finals that we expected the second semi-final to be a lot closer at half-time. Well, it's not, and it's Cork who are on top against the All-Ireland champions, leading by 10 points to 5. And you'd have to say that deserving of that as well, Anne-Marie.
Absolutely. We've had an exhibition of long distance scoring from Chloe Sigerson. Hannah Looney has been absolutely everywhere. The Cork backs as a unit have been outstanding. Kilkenny haven't come, they don't look like a team that had a match last weekend anyway, and they seem kind of like a bit like Galway, a bit rusty. It's not Cork that are rusty coming into this anyway. They are on form.
Let's have a look at that Looney Sigerson axis, with Sigerson coming up with some unbelievable scores.
Yeah, and each point she's getting seems to be, even more impressive. And Hannah Looney has been central to a lot of this as well, because she's laying off the pass. She's using the ball that bit better and a bit more smarter. But Chloe wing forward, she's got 4 points in play and 1 super long range free, and Kilkenny just don't seem to have an answer to her at the moment. But as we said, Looney every single time is picking her out. She knows she's off the shoulder, and that's what Cork are comfortable. I think Cork at times nearly are surprised with the amount of time and space that they have. Kilkenny were always, I suppose, praising them for being so tight defensively. They're giving Chloe Sigerson so much space, and Cork are turning them over, and it's leading to attack after attack, and Kilkenny are just not able for it at the moment. But Cork are so comfortable under the ball. Their possession, they've only lost 50% of possession in comparison to Kilkenny, who've lost 80% of possession. That just shows the dominance of Cork in that first half.
At the start I mentioned they had 30 shots on goal last year, then he converted 12. They've had 15 shots on goal and they've converted 10 of them already, Cork. Whereas Kilkenny have actually had more shots on goal, 16, and they've only converted 5.
And you were saying that is because of the way the Cork defence has stood up.
Absolutely. The whole defensive unit, Cork, they're out in front, they're touch tight, they're so close. They realise the danger here. Goalie, such a save, out so fast, and they're blocking, hooking. They're actually nearly like Kilkenny were last year. And just that, again, I think they're so hungry to get on the ball. Kilkenny have a couple of options, chose the wrong option a couple of times. I'm just so impressed with Cork as a defensive unit. They've been so good, and Hannah Looney coming back in there into the Cork defensive unit, helping them out too, and just they're working the ball out the field.
And even Pamela Mackey, you can see her experience there. There's no wonder that she started today, because she's got onto so much ball. Saoirse McCarthy making those deep, long surging runs, and Kilkenny are not getting the space and time that they're looking for, and Cork are making turnovers after turnovers and have got 6 points from turnovers alone.
And I'm sure that Kilkenny, Brian Dowling, will not be happy with his forwards at half time. He will be telling them he needs a lot more of the work rate, more intensity, that space in the middle third. Seemed like there was a lot of players there, but yet the Cork had so much time on the ball. They could pick this perfect pass into the full forward line.
Well, you spoke beforehand that it was going to be a tactical battle between the two managers, with the man we saw a few moments ago is certainly winning that at the moment, because it's Cork, led by Paddy Murray, who are leading at half-time by 10 points to 5. Second half coming up.
country for the most talented makeup artists. Only 10 have made the cut. Get ready to glow up.
It's brutal out here.
I'm upping it each time. I love it.
I'm winging it. This is creativity at its best. It's time to get behind Ireland's contestants. Glow Up Ireland starts Thursday at 9:35 on RTE2 and RTE Player.
This is On Post Commerce. This is doing business across distance as if distance doesn't matter. This is us, helping business of all sizes thrive and grow. This is opening doors and opportunities and possibilities. Small, local, big, global. Helping Irish business go further and bringing international business nearer. This is On Post Commerce, a world of ways to bring customers closer.
We were told the game was over before we'd even started. We were told our bodies weren't made for it. It wasn't our time to play. We played anyway. And together we played like there was no tomorrow. And they told us that was fine. You can play. You're good enough. And thought that was good enough for us. It wasn't. We are relentless. The game isn't over until we say it's over. Until we get everything we've given everything for. Until we level the playing field.
Lidl, proud supporters of ladies Gaelic football.
Welcome to Tesco Mobile.
You're just... This beauty got a cracking camera on it. And I'll throw in some never-ending data if you like.
So that's one brand new smartphone for you and 99% coverage for your calls, texts and data.
And why not add our new €15 family plan, which gives each family plan member never-ending data. And you'll only get one bill. This is Supermarket Mobile. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Cork currently in pole position to make their first All-Ireland final since they last won the title 3 years ago here. We saw them with a very definitive game plan to try to work the ball out from the back. There were a couple of times there, though, where it looked a bit of a risky choice.
Yeah, and that's probably one criticism I would have of Cork at times. They overplay it. They like that short passing game. And yes, it can work effectively at times, but Kilkenny, when they're on form, they can overturn you and get the scores. And I just think because Cork are dominating this game, and especially in attack when you have, Katrina Mackey, every time it goes into her, Orla Cronin, Amy O'Connor, all these girls get the ball in nice and fast. There's no point in, it's grand going patient with your build-up, but when you've got girls of that pace, you need to get in nice and quick.
Just briefly, Anne-Marie, what do you expect to see from Kilkenny the second half?
Huge improvements, similar to the league final. They came out in that third quarter, scored 1-5 without reply. They were 3 points down at half-time against Galway. So I'm going to expect something similar here from Kilkenny. More intensity. We're going to see if that character is true to form.
We saw a great start to the second half from Tipperary earlier on. It ultimately didn't prove enough. Let's see what happens here with Elaine and Darren.
Joanne, thanks very much indeed. Just looking around, there don't appear to be any changes to either side for the start of the second half, with Cork leading by double scores by 10 points to 5. Just looking at the flags around the edge of the pitch and indeed up on Hill 16, sometimes they can be, well, they can give you the wrong idea, but we reckon the wind is very definitely favouring Kilkenny, the All-Ireland champions, in this second half. They have a lot of work to do, ground to make up, as Laura Tracy gets across for Cork. That half-back line were brilliant in the first half. Hannah Looney was another member of that unit that did so well. Laura Tracy again took over that jersey from Gemma O'Connor. Cork, well, they've lost a number of hugely talented and very experienced players over the years. Paudie Murray has been regenerating this team, and you can see he's doing a pretty good job with it. This is Fiona Keating, and Keating had the shot blocked down, and Aoife Norris, the Kilkenny and Pilltown goalkeeper, able to fire it out to Davina Tobin from Emeralds. Amy O'Connor trying to block her down. But Kilkenny need a big start to this second half. And Elaine, we've been talking, I suppose, about looking at Kilkenny's route here, and that they have at times been sort of playing in fits, bursts of really brilliant play, and then it dips a bit.
Yeah, and they've been that way throughout the whole year. You know, it's been that evident in the league, and they carried it through to championship. Now, the fact is, when they've been on top and when they have dominated, they've put it on the scoreboard for those couple of 15-20-minute bursts that they've made. Unfortunately, for the first 15 minutes here tonight, they didn't. I suppose they had that goal opportunity. It was blocked on the line, and you know, when they were kind of dominating Cork at the start, they didn't make a count on the scoreboard. So you know, I'll be expecting a big 15 minutes from them here, but you know, as well as the work right out the field, they need to make a count on the scoreboard. Kellyanne Doyle has moved out to the middle of the field now, so she's partnering Denise Gall there, picking up Aisling Thompson and Hannah Looney, and you know, that's probably an indicator from a Kilkenny point of view that they were outplayed there in that first half, and that's where a lot of that Cork good build-up came from. So Kilkenny obviously trying to get a foothold there now.
Now Kilkenny delighted to see Denise Gall recover from injury. There's the Galway squad led by Sarah Dervin, who are waiting to find out who they're going to play in the final. Whoever it is, that's going to be another massive tussle and a great occasion. Hopefully a bigger crowd than today as well, between 2,000 and 3,000 allowed in to Croke Park. Not easy for, well, teams and, say, parents with kids of the 4 counties, with so many schools back tomorrow to bring them up to Dublin, and then a long journey back. So hopefully wherever you are in the country watching, you're enjoying. Here's Grace Walsh with a little flick forward up towards Miriam Walsh, her cousin, and that is Libby Coppinger again, and that's super defending. Miriam Walsh has another go at trying to get by her, and she's got a free in. The free will be on the 20-metre line. Miriam Walsh eventually got the better of Libby Coppinger and won the free.
Yeah, again, so strong in possession, you know, and once she turns and dips that shoulder in, the hurl is always going to slide up, and Libby caught on that occasion, and, you know, really hard won free by Miriam inside on the edge of the square. You know, got a super goal for Kilkenny last year in that All-Ireland semi-final down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, so, you know, Kilkenny have relocated her to the edge of the square now, and the hope maybe that something will come of that again.
So Denise Gall has topped that one over for her 3rd point of the game. They've all been frees, and that's the first of the second half, and they trim the lead down to 4. Megan Farrell again managing to get the hurley to the ball. Here's Aisling Thompson. You know, all about her energy and her skill, and well, the great Cork teams that she was a part of, and all the success that they had. There was a jersey pull by Katrina Mackey. We could see it from all the way up here on the 7th floor. Referee was the wrong side though, and that is popped down into the corner, but Maeve Cahalane had that under control.
Yeah, Kilkenny did really well there to break down that Cork attack. It looked like Mackey might be able to slip inside, but you know, Kellyanne Doyle came out with it and just asked a little too much of Katie Ferrer down along the sideline.
Here's Laura Tracy, having got the sideline ball from Maeve Cahalane. Aisling Thompson, Laura Hayes. They've done that really well, working the ball out of defence. Sure, there are risks with it. A brilliant run from Orla Cronin. And Cronin has pace to burn and taking on Kilkenny. Ciara O'Sullivan a little unfortunate to lose control of the ball. Amy O'Connor makes it difficult for Davina Tobin to get out, but Tobin made that look easy. Here come Kilkenny, wind at their backs. They've got the only point since the match restarted. Ciara O'Sullivan turns it over. Laura Hayes, and the pace of the match really has never let up at all. Katrina Mackey, that's a clever ball. Out into space for Chloe Sigerson. Sigerson, well, has not been able to get that one between the posts. 5 she got in the first half, 4 of them from play. That was a tricky one though. Colette Dormer with the long clearance for Kilkenny. It'll come straight back at them though. There's Aisling Thompson, and Thompson is fouled on the 65-metre line, and Chloe Sigerson is walking towards where this foul took place already.
Yeah, pressure there from Katie Nolan and Steffi Fitzgerald and Aisling Thompson, and I think always knew she was going to get the free maybe if she could go to ground, so clever free from her, well earned, and as I said, a chance now for Chloe Sigerson from distance.
This is her longest effort of the day, and it's a good strike. Oh, and it almost went into the back of the net. There were certainly the sound of timber on the crossbar, wasn't there? It's gone out behind. Certainly that caused panic, and again the sunlight in all the players' eyes under this.
Yeah, you could just see the last shot even Chloe Sigerson had from play dropped a little bit short, and you could see Aoife Norris maybe a little bit slow off the line, not knowing exactly where it was. And on that occasion, herself and Colette Dormer on the line watched it all the way and had to with the sun, and Claire Phelan to get in there with the really good block. But a chance again now for Cork.
Yeah, for sure, from the 45. And it's Orla Cronin.
That's it, Kilkenny! That's it!
So Orla happy with the way she struck the ball there, and that's their first of the second half, and the lead is back at 5.
And I just see Denise Gall now has just moved into the Kilkenny full forward line for a while, you know, not getting a whole lot of spare change around the middle of the field maybe from Aisling Thompson, so we'll offer something different up front maybe.
Kilkenny are going to make a change. We hear that Kellyanne Doyle is going to come off, but Cork have, well, picked up where they left off in the first half. Half back line doing well, doing really well around the middle of the field, and just running at Kilkenny whenever they get an opportunity, and holding onto the ball really well. Fiona Keating, just a battle in the air, and that battle won by Colette Dormer. She's been outstanding in the Kilkenny defence. Wins a free out as well.
Yeah, and had to be really clever and strong under that ball. Hannah Looney was lurking around there. If it had gone to ground, the chances are she would have maybe picked it up and gone to run at that Kilkenny defence. So really well taken out of the sky by Dormer.
So here's Laura Murphy from O'Loughlin Gales replacing. It's not Kellyanne Doyle, actually, it's Steffi Fitzgerald who went off. Now you remember, so Kellyanne is still on the field of play. Steffi Fitzgerald at the first half water break seemed to be receiving some treatment, so Brian Dowling and his management team have made the decision to take Steffi off. She's had a really good year, and well, there may be another game yet, but her teammates left out on the field will have to go some to bridge this 5-point lead. Now Denise Gall has a great chance to do just that here. And that's nicely done by Denise Gall.
Yeah, super free, hard won by herself, you know, and that's, I suppose, the danger she poses inside in that full forward line. Had to come out to the wing to win it maybe, but when she did get the chance, then she was able to take it.
So who can get the next score? Feels like it could be a big one in the context of this match. That's Katie Nolan, who belted that forward. Aisling Thompson was loitering around there and able to win the ball back for Cork. Laura Hayes. Thompson again. And that just ran away from Katrina Mackey. Colette Dormer. She's been Kilkenny's strongest defender, but she was hooked there by Amy O'Connor. But look at her get back on the ball again, and Kilkenny able to work it through the lines and work it up the field. And now it's up towards Katie Power. Power outnumbered by Cork defenders. That is brilliant play from Katie Power. Referee keeping a close eye on this. There's been no foul. He didn't have the hand up to indicate an advantage either. But now it is Maeve Catalan, and that's a free out to Cork, and that's a huge moment for the Cork defence. They looked exposed there as Katie Power got away from her marker, but you've seen what happened since.
Yeah, once Katie Power got that ball in her hand, to me it looked like she was fouled, maybe pulled back a little bit, but you know, the Cork free looked to be a little bit softer coming out on that occasion. But again, Cork getting numbers back. At the minute that ball was gone in, Laura Tracy turned, was on her heels back in to get the support back in there, and they've turned Kilkenny over again, and they're growing in confidence from it.
Amy Lee takes the free for Cork. Pulled on by Orla Cronin. The referee, though, will intervene and has intervened. Kellyanne Doyle is a concern now for the Kilkenny management, but it's all gone pretty well for Paudie Murray.
Yeah, and 7 points from a Kilkenny point of view, you know, is low score and it's a low return, and you know, they've created a couple of opportunities. As I said, they had 16 shots in that first half, but between dropping short and not even going wide, you know, they just didn't convert them. And on the opposite opposite side are really converting what the chances they are getting up front.
Get behind the roof, that's it.
So Orla Cronin just sent that one in as the game restarted. Megan Farrell couldn't bring that under control. Laura Hayes. Ciara O'Sullivan has worked hard for Cork in their half-forward line. And there's that Kilkenny defence back doing what it does best and frustrating Cork. Well, Cork lead by 4. Kellyanne Doyle scored 1 point in the first half, certainly showing no sign at all of having any issues with that shoulder, which looked badly injured last weekend at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Hannah Looney. But they're happy just to hold on to it, and Libby Coppinger fires it out wide to Ciara O'Sullivan, the 19-year-old, one of the new breed in this Cork team. An awful lot like with Kilkenny of underage talent coming through. That was brilliant from Amy O'Connor. Referee has the hand up to play an advantage, and there's no advantage coming for Cork, but Amy O'Connor, once she gets the ball in her hand, very difficult to dispossess legally.
Yeah, super player, and as I said, you know, Davina Tobin, a real job of marking her today, and on the couple of occasions that Amy has gotten away from her, she has earned those frees. But just that last ball into the Kilkenny attack, you know, you had Laura Tracy, Maeve Callahan queuing up to get it in there. The Cork have the numbers back, and as we saw then through Hannah Looney out through the middle of the field, they're able to build from there, and that's really where they're causing Kilkenny the most problems. And Kilkenny forwards just look a little bit at sea at the moment in there.
Yeah, just looking down the other end, as you watch Orla Cronin line up this free to give them their 12th point, looking at the way the Cork defence are lining up, but at the moment there seem to be 2 extra players back there, but they sort of had 2 sweepers there, 2 +1 defenders, but that has now just been put back to 1 as Miriam Walsh has gone back in there. The free has been missed by Orla Cronin, but Cork having to restructure their defence, and Kilkenny getting more offensive with Miriam Walsh now in on the edge of the square.
Yeah, and just those couple of little hand passes there. We saw the one from Laura Murphy there to Mary O'Connell, just not going to hand, and that's down to the pressure that Cork are putting on the ball.
Denise Gall. So that is the full forward. Centre forward Mary O'Connell. Here's a goal chance, and they've got it. Kilkenny have got their goal. The All-Ireland champions have made their move, and it's Mary O'Connell who had some bright moments in the first half, getting in and getting the goal, and now we've a game.
Yeah, and that long ball in from Claire Phelan, and you know, and that's probably where Miriam Walsh is maybe her most comfortable and her most dangerous for Kilkenny, is in on the edge of the square. Got a lovely pop pass over, and Mary O'Connell had continued her run in, and there's that ruthlessness that just wasn't there in the first half, and certainly this last questions of Cork now.
They most certainly will, and Kilkenny have their tails up now. Katie Nolan, Chloe Sigerson behind her, and there'll be a free coming at the end of this if there isn't an advantage for Kilkenny, which there wasn't. And Chloe Sigerson, well, having to do work deep inside her own half and running back towards her own goal. She's been flawless down at the other end. But there's the goal scorer, Mary O'Connell.
Yeah, she's been having a super year for Kilkenny, you know, a player that's been around intermediate panels and senior panels for a couple of years, but has really revitalised this year at centre forward for Kilkenny. Had a huge league campaign and carried that right into championship.
This is for the equaliser for Denise Gall, and she has done it, and that is what All-Ireland champions do. In the blink of an eye, they've drawn level.
Yeah, and that's what Kilkenny have been doing. You know, we spoke about the stop-start nature of their league and championship to date, but, you know, they've always stayed in games, always stayed within touch, and then being able to get that vital score, so a huge response needed from Cork now.
Aisling Thompson. Cork have had so much of this game go their own way. We're heading towards the second half water break. Here's Amy O'Connor, and we're starting to see the referee become more and more involved. That's a free in. Amy O'Connor has gone down, and the Cork physio is coming in to give some treatment, and there could be trouble for Davina Tobin or Megan Farrell. So there is a conversation between the referee John Dermody and Megan Farrell, but it ends in a yellow card for Davina Tobin.
Yeah, and that'll be a worry for Kilkenny now in that full back line. If you have an attacking forward like Amy O'Connor who likes to run, and a man marker like Davina Tobin who's trying to stick to her, you know, it's dangerous enough to be on a yellow card. Looked a soft enough yellow card, in my opinion, for what was going on, but free now anyway for Cork, and, you know, it'll be a response they've needed to the Kilkenny 1-1 in the last few minutes.
the second half. Well, Cork just 1 point for Paddy Murray's team, and Kilkenny have scored 1-3. This is a big free for Orla Cronin and for Cork. And Cronin trusts the technique and the process, and we are at the second half water break, and Cork have got their second point of the second half, but Kilkenny have come right back at them and now are only one behind. Anne-Marie Hayes, your thoughts?
That goal has just kick-started Kilkenny maybe a small bit. It's great delivery by Claire Phelan, some catch by Miriam Walsh, and fed the ball inside to Mary O'Connell, and she roofed at the back of the net. Kilkenny had a small bit more impetus about them in the last couple of minutes there, but again Cork for the first maybe 10 minutes of that quarter were still very much on top. Miriam Walsh, maybe the move now into full forward will suit her better. Kilkenny might go direct routes into long ball into her. Like at one stage there, Katie Power was inside and there was 3 Cork players free. Just again, the amount of time that Cork have on the ball, free time on the ball, they've like time to look up, pick out a player. I'd say they can't believe it themselves, to be honest. Kilkenny are renowned for this intensity and this toughness in the tackle. We haven't seen any of that yet today. Brian Dowling is down there now urging his players on, probably to bring a bit more intensity to it and get a bit more ball inside. So it's going to be an interesting final quarter.
It certainly is, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much indeed. And maybe an indication of just how serious this is getting now. Paddy Murray's got rid of the shades. We saw him there take the sunglasses off.
Poker face is gone now. There's no hold barred here. It's all in for the last 15 minutes. And, you know, Cork started really, really well after the water break in the first half and got 2 points straight away out of nothing. So Kilkenny will be anxious now not to let that happen. The water break probably came at the wrong time for Kilkenny. They normally like to kick on after scoring a goal, and they had the goal and the point. So the water break may have come at the wrong time for them. But, you know, a huge 15 minutes ahead now if they're to defend their All-Ireland title.
So the sun in the eyes of Aoife Norris, the Kilkenny goalkeeper. Let's see the Hogan stand with half the pitch in shade. It's not easy at all, and we saw that in the first game for the defenders and the goalkeeper down at that Hill 16 end. So Cork with a 1-point lead. Kilkenny have the line ball.
Yeah, and Denise Gall came to pocket. You know, she's a huge player for Kilkenny, but do you get a slap on the hand, and is on the sideline at the moment feeling her hand. You know, she's normally a super player that when Kilkenny need a leader, she stands up and does something big, and that's obviously what she was trying to do on that occasion, but she looks to be in a lot of pain with that hand there at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, and she's been in the wars. She had some treatment earlier on in the match as well, but it would have to be a pretty serious injury to keep Denise Gall from completing this match, and Kilkenny need her right until the end.
Yeah, and even from a free-taking point of view, you know, it's a hand injury if it is, and it looks to be she looks to be in a fair bit of pain. So, you know, as we said, she's a superb free-taker from anywhere on the field, and, you know, she's not holding the hurl right. That is a concern for Brian Dowling.
So Kilkenny are taking off Michelle Tehan, and Niamh Deely is coming in. Niamh Deely was close to a start in this team. Very accomplished player. So Niamh from James Stevens. So Denise Gall, you saw, I think she just has a splint between the 4th and 5th fingers on her left hand. So that is a concern for her and a worry for Kilkenny as we head towards the final 10 minutes of the second All-Ireland semi-final. The Galway players, after their win over Tipperary, haven't left. Here's Laura Hayes of Kilkenny. The All-Ireland champions have eaten into Cork's 5-point half-time lead. Chloe Sigerson from way out. This is going to drop short, though. A tester for Aoife Norris. She had the luxury of being able to let it bounce in front of her, with Amy O'Connor a few yards away from her, a few metres away from her. Here's Grace Walsh, the new player in, Niamh Deely. Nice work by Katie Nolan. Scored a point in the first half and has drawn the foul off Laura Tracy. So this is a test now of that left hand for Denise Gall. She's going to take the free.
Yeah, super work again from Katie Nolan. You know, moved further out the field a little bit there now since half-time, just to try and bring a bit of energy to that Kilkenny midfielder. She's a massive work rate, and kept up with a couple of scores this year as well for Kilkenny, but that work rate attacking the Cork defence there has resulted in 2 frees in the last few minutes, and Gall slotting that one over.
Yeah, she's done that, Denise Gall. It didn't seem to be too much of a problem. Here's the Cork captain, Linda Collins, now in. And the player who has gone off is Ciara O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Linda Collins looking to go into the full forward there line now, so interesting if Kilkenny will leave Megan Farrell. Seems to be the player free that should be picking her up, but I can't imagine Kilkenny wanting Megan Farrell in their full back line, so they'll look to get someone else maybe to pick her up and allow Megan Farrell to push on.
Level for the 3rd time. Niamh Deely was hooked, and that just slowed her progress, but they still have the ball, but not anymore. Laura Tracy for Cork. Here comes Orla Cronin. Sides level for the 3rd time. Extra time, anyone? Here comes Laura Hayes. Laura Hayes, brilliant block down. Wonderful block. Katie Power there in a deeper position for Kilkenny. Claire Phelan had an assist on the goal, or an assist really. Here's Miriam Walsh. She had the primary assist for Mary O'Connell. Cork, but now under pressure. Kilkenny trying to squeeze them and force them backwards. Maeve Cahalane was calm. The hurl went flying there, so there's a free in. And that was a lack of discipline from Katie Nolan.
I think he might actually be after blowing Laura Tracy for a throw as opposed to the high hurl. It looks to be a free in.
You're right, it's a Denise Gall one, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure from the signal straight away, but it did look like a throw ball, and that's much better from the Kilkenny forwards. You know, they pinned Pamela Mackey back in the corner there, forced them over and over again and stopped Laura Tracy breaking out.
But Denise Gall's free. That seemed to get away from her a little bit, but not enough to stop it going between the posts. So that left hand is okay. And, well, the Kilkenny pressure paid off. So it's now Kilkenny leading. So how will Cork respond to that? They've managed just 2 in the second half. And Kilkenny are flying at the moment. Katie Power, and that is a brilliant score. Absolute stunner from Katie Power.
Yeah, and they've just upped that work rate in the forwards. You know, the couple of fresh legs, Laura Murphy, Niamh Deely in around there. Katie Nolan is really starting to motor around the middle of the field, and they've just been able to break up that Cork momentum and haven't been able to let them string those couple of passes together.
Brilliant catch from Fiona Keating. Orla Cronin. Now Linda Collins from 46 metres away. No, caught by Aoife Norris.
Yeah, we were critical of the Kilkenny forwards maybe in the first half, but probably underestimated the breeze a small bit down there. You know, another shot that just dropped short, and they're dangerous enough with the sun in the eyes of Aoife Norris there, but did really well to get that clearance out to Claire Phelan.
Kilkenny have just come alive. Niamh Deely, Megan Farrell, Pamela Mackey and Laura Hayes there. Now look at the pressure that the Kilkenny forwards are putting on the Cork backs. They're not letting them get out the field as early or as easy as they were during the first half, when Cork, as Ursula Jacob mentioned, seemed to have an awful lot of time on the ball. Pamela Mackey, Laura Tracy for Cork. They need a score now just to wrest back some of the momentum from Kilkenny. That's Claire Phelan. That long ball has worked so well for them. Katie Power went up after it, but Cork with 2 defenders back there. Saoirse McCarthy being put under pressure. Now it's Maeve Cahalane. Can she join her sister from the Cork Miners in the All-Ireland final against Galway? It'll be Kilkenny and Cork in the All-Ireland Minor final. Aisling Thompson left the ball after it, but it's going to be a free into Cork. Now it's a long way out, and the wind will be in the face and against Chloe Sigerson.
Yeah, Claire Phelan there just with the little nudge and pushed Aisling Thompson over, and you know, Thompson and Hannah Looney just trying to build that little work rate that they got going, and the little off the shoulder pass there on that occasion, trying to work the ball up to Chloe Sigerson, and Claire gave away the free, probably a little bit far out maybe for a score, but will be dropping into the face of Aoife Norris, and as we said, that sun is in her eyes in there as well, so important that Kilkenny defence deal with this.
Kilkenny with 3 points since the water break, Cork with none. Chloe Sigerson, that's a huge strike of the ball, but it's just tailing away to the left, but it's been kept in play by Amy O'Connor. The referee is playing an advantage. They're going to get a free at the end of this on the 20-metre line, and that is what is coming.
Amy O'Connor did really well to keep that ball in play there. It looked that it was drifting off out wide, and did really, really well to keep it in, and knew once she had the ball in her possession in there, and Davina Tobin close behind her on a yellow card, that she was probably going to earn a free.
Aoife Doyle off. That's Michaela Keneally, who is replacing her wearing number 19. So Orla Cronin is Cork's only scorer in the second half of this match, and we've got 5 minutes left, and Orla Cronin keeps them within striking distance.
Another huge puck out coming now for Aoife Norris. You know, it'll be important for Kilkenny to try and gain possession on this, and not to let Cork build from the back again.
So Norris has almost sent that down. She has got it down to the Cork 45-metre line, and here come Kilkenny. A goal now would finish it off. Laura Murphy was right in the heart of that Kilkenny attack. You can see Michaela Keneally there as well, but there's Hannah Looney. Has to go back to Amy Lee. Just flicks it forward. They won't panic, Cork. Came in here as the underdogs, 5-point lead at half-time. That's a huge clearance. Kilkenny, well, Megan Farrell was the extra defender back there. Here's Linda Collins. The captain was left out of the team today. Linda Collins for Cork. Here's a goal chance for Cork. Oh, brilliant. Somehow it was blocked on the line. I think it was Katrina Mackey's shot, and I can't quite see who managed to block it, but a certain goal was prevented. Cork will try and get something out of the attack, and they have done that. The point has been sent over.
Super point from Fiona Keating there, I think, just to get a score on the board from Cork. But what a defence from Kilkenny. Bodies came from all over the place, and it looked to be a certain goal for Mackey. And you know, if you wanted any player on the end of it, it was Mackey that was in there. But what a super run from Linda Collins initially, and you know, introduced to the team and had a big impact. And it was Megan Farrell actually got across and put her whole body on the line to just get Mackey's shot away.
So the sides, well, a red card, we understand. There's going to be a red card. Is it for Orla Cronin? The linesman was in to have a word with John Dermody, the referee, just as we were watching the replay, and there is a red card for Orla Cronin. So Cork down to 14.
Huge moment in the game, and as you said, the linesman straight away into the referee. There seemed to be no debating it.
Have a look, it's an off-the-ball incident. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there was a coming together there. It's the reaction from Orla Cronin. Just have a look again.
Yeah, it's
with
straight
Kellyanne Doyle, yeah, okay. And that was spotted by
the linesman, and in straight away on the initial replay, when you saw the coming together, there didn't look to be anything in it, but it was obviously the reaction to and the swing back to Grace Walsh on the edge of the square.
So the red card for Orla Cronin.
And interestingly now, Kilkenny played Galway in the last round of the group games, and this Galway were reduced to 14 players after 15 minutes, and it was actually Galway that kicked on, and Kilkenny just didn't cope with it at all. So it'll be interesting to see what lessons Kilkenny have learned from that, and if they can put that extra player to use here today.
The sides are level for the fourth time. Aoife Norris. It's going to go right down to the wire, and we could have extra time yet. This is Katie Nolan for the All-Ireland champions, trying to weave a way through. She's been done for over-carrying, so that's a free out to Cork.
Yeah, and a huge moment for Cork there, you know, huge turnover. Katie Nolan had won a couple of frees by running at the Cork defence there, and just didn't win the free on that occasion, was overturned, and a huge impetus for Cork and huge momentum for them.
That's Amy Lee. Of course, if it does go to extra time, Cork will go back to 15 players, but Orla Cronin won't be able to come back on. And they can have 5 subs each. Aoife Norris has come out. There's going to be 4 additional minutes. So this could twist this way and the other several times between now and the end.
We've had such swings in the last couple of minutes. Who's counting it going either way? But, you know, as I said, that was a huge momentum builder for Cork at the back, and then a silly free from Linda Collins inside her own attacking 21. So Kilkenny now really need to gain possession of this.
Chloe Sigerson trying to get some of her teammates just to mark up. She was filling space over here in front of us. Laura Murphy of Kilkenny. It's come back to Kellyanne Doyle, Grace Walsh, and there is Chloe Sigerson filling that space for Cork and able to get them going forward again. Maeve Cahalane, off she goes. Incredible pace. She's had a super year from that famous Cahalane dynasty in Cork. Here comes Katrina Mackey. Mackey shoots and misses.
Oh, and it was built up. It had everything. The finish just didn't quite match it. You know, Claire Phelan used every sinew in her body to try and catch McCarthy there as she tore up the sideline, but a super ball into Mackey and had just found a bit of space, her first bit of space all day, maybe from Colette Dormer.
Mary O'Connell was in a half-back position there. That's Cork's 7th wide. The sides are level. We're in added time at the end of the second All-Ireland semi-final. Will there be a winner in regulation time? Aisling Thompson. Cork were the underdogs coming in against the reigning champions. That's Colette Dormer. Tidy footwork from her. It's got quite dark overhead here in Croke Park, and the temperature's dropped right down around us, but it's pretty hot down on the field still. Katie Nolan flicks that out towards Miriam Walsh. Set up the crucial goal for Kilkenny. They've been a team transformed in the second half, but Cork have come back at them, and the sides level for the 4th time in the game. Katie Nolan, can they draw a foul even? Grace Walsh, they're working it closer and closer. The shot on its way, but it's not going to hit the target. It's been poked wide.
Yeah, probably just the wrong shot selection from Laura Murphy there. You know, they'd worked it really well into a couple of positions, but just couldn't find the right person, I suppose, to take the shot at the time, and a chance now for Cork to rebuild from the puck out.
Pamela Mackey. Saoirse McCarthy's had a good game for Cork. Possession so crucial. Here's Chloe Sigerson, brilliant block down. All these tiny moments have the potential to swing the game one way or the other. Will we have a winner in normal time? This is Miriam Walsh. She is the Kilkenny full forward, and now Katie Power. Miriam Walsh again, can't pick it up off the ground. You would think, what with 2 minutes, each side will have 1 chance each, but that's a free out. It's a free to Cork.
Yeah, and what a super block from, or hook from Claire Phelan back on Chloe Sigerson there, just as she was looking to pull the trigger on that shot. And down the other end of the field, Kilkenny just couldn't get the numbers up to Miriam Walsh quick enough when she had possession, and, you know, did her best to keep it in there, but turned over eventually, and a chance again for Cork.
Amy Lee with the free. Possession absolutely crucial. Fiona Keating sends it across to the captain, Linda Collins, and it's gone over the bar. White flag goes up. Linda Collins is on the field about 7 minutes. The captain left out of the team that was named earlier on today, and Cork lead again.
Yeah, clubmate to clubmate there. Corsie Rovers, the senior champions in Cork last year, and Linda Collins has been really putting herself into some super positions for scores, and lucky not to get one before this, and what an important score for Cork.
The All-Ireland champions are losing their grip on the trophy. Linda Collins again. Collins flicks that forward. Colette Dormer for the All-Ireland champions. They are going to have 1 more chance. We're in the last minute of the 4 to be added on. You would think they're going to have 1 more chance, but Cork have other ideas. Diving in after that was the brilliant Saoirse McCarthy, and off she goes. McCarthy for Cork takes on the shot, but was hooked. And now it's Katrina Mackey. Can Cork keep it down this end of the field with less than half a minute to go in the second All-Ireland semi-final? Megan Farrell trying to get rid of that legally. She managed to do it. Here's Chloe Sigerson. Cork lead by a point. Can they dethrone the All-Ireland champions? Katrina Mackey has won an awful lot of ball. Is she going to head towards the corner flag or try and put the ball into the corner? The 4 minutes are up in 3 seconds. And Kilkenny, is there going to be another chance for them? The All-Ireland champions, well, they are on the brink now. McCarthy plays that forward again. The 4 minutes are gone, and the referee blows the whistle, and the underdogs have unseated the All-Ireland champions, Cork. This rivalry taken to a new level today. It looked as if Cork were in trouble in the second half, but Kilkenny, All-Ireland champions, have been beaten. Cork found the inspiration from somewhere. They had Orla Cronin sent off close to the end, but Paddy Murray's team have dug in and showed that true spirit and Cork character that the rebel county bring to every sport and every sporting occasion. Celebrations for Cork. They have not won the All-Ireland. There's another job to do against Galway, but the All-Ireland champions from 2020 are no more.
No, and look, Cork totally deserving of that victory there today. You know, from the get-go, they survived an early scare in that goal opportunity, but when you did, you could feel them growing in confidence throughout. And you know, the last couple of balls, it was the captain, the likes of Linda Collins, who had come into the team. What a score! But all throughout, Chloe Sigerson was a super player for Cork today, and their work rate all over the field. You know, they got numbers back time and time again. Kilkenny had opportunities coming near the end, but it was Cork with the numbers back, forced the frees, forced the over carries, and as you said, they were so confident building from there. They came with a plan, they played out for them today, and you know, they have their just reward for it now.
They certainly do, and huge celebrations. There are tears of joy from Hannah Looney and some of her teammates because, well, at half-time they were leading by 10 points to 5. Kilkenny came back at them so strongly. Mary O'Connell's goal seemed to have thrown the thing on its head. They survived a red card and survived the onslaught at the end and held on to win and to book a place in the All-Ireland semi-final. It's finished Cork 15 points, Kilkenny 1-11.
Well, that is certainly some finishes, isn't it, Ursula? Jacob, can we even tell, did the right team win?
For me, I think Cork overall had the more outstanding performance. You know, at different stages, different players stood up, whether it was Pamela Mackey in defence, the midfield pair in Looney and Aisling Thompson, Chloe Sigerson. But then even look at Linda Collins coming on, the impact she made, that super score. Even Fiona Keaton, a 19-year-old girl, probably one of the more inexperienced players, coolly slotted over a point. So for me, overall, Cork did the better hurling over the 60 minutes.
And Anne-Marie, when you look at the way that second half happened, how Kilkenny worked themselves right back in, and looked like they then established the dominance for Cork to be able to come back and do what they did. It says a lot about their character, doesn't
Absolutely, and I was speaking about the Kilkenny belief and the way the Kilkenny were going to go, but Cork were absolutely phenomenal there in the second half. The work rate, you know, Kilkenny lost 77% of their possession and Cork scored 10 points from turnovers, and I down to their work rate all over the field. Like, I thought their midfield and half back line, very little ball went through, but Kilkenny left so many loose players in the Cork backs. I just couldn't believe how much time they were giving Cork on the ball to pick out these perfect passes. Cork had great heroic displays in a lot of positions today.
Despite the fact that you're talking up how well the defence played, the half-back midfield, who did you actually pick for a player of the match?
Yeah, there was a number of players, and you know, in fairness, we decided to go with Chloe Sigerson in the end. In the first half, when they really needed someone to stand up, she got 4 super points from play, a long range free, and in the second half, her work rate up and down that wing was super, and she even came back defensively in the half back line at the end. So for us, Chloe Sigerson.
Now Pamela Mackey was outstanding too.
Yeah.
She had a very good game in the backs for Cork.
Yeah, lots of great displays from the Cork women today, but the player of the match is Chloe Sigerson, and she's with Valerie.
Oh, it's just amazing. We've waited the last 2 years to get back to the All-Ireland final where we belong, so it's just there's 2 heartbreaks from the last 2 years. It's all just all come out today. I think that showed in our first half performance, so we're absolutely delighted.
It was a fierce battle in the end. Was there any worries that she wouldn't admit it?
There's always going to be a bit of battle and a bit of trouble when you're playing Kilkenny, but that's the joy of the game, and fair play to Kilkenny. They came back in the second half. They rattled us, but I think we've had a bit of a break there with the quarterfinals. We've worked on ourselves. We've worked on how we want to play, our younger players, and I think it showed today massively. We had a lot of composure on the ball, and in the end there to come back and win it, I think is massive.
Even your own performance today, Chloe, some absolutely colossal scores.
Sure, look, the ball was kind of handed me for most of them. I'd say there was about 3 or 4 blocks from the half-backs to midfield before it finally got to me, so it's a team effort. I was just the one who put them over, so it was quieter in the second half, so we'll work on that.
What does it mean to yourself personally to reach an All-Ireland final?
Oh, it's brilliant. I suppose for myself, when I came onto the panel, I came on and we were straight into the All-Irelands. You know, I got a good run in it, so to get the heartbreak of the 2 semi-finals, 2018 or 2019, 2020, just to bottle that up, it's not a nice feeling, so we're absolutely delighted to be back.
Facing Galway in the final now next?
Exactly, yeah, sure. It's going to be the exact same as it was today, probably even more intense. Galway are a brilliant team, they have some brilliant players, so we'll go away, we'll take the positives from today, work on ourselves for the next 2 weeks, and just focus on ourselves. And I know if we come in, I think we have a great chance of winning this.
Chloe, congratulations, you're a player of the match.
Thanks very much.
Brilliant performance, brilliant interview as well from Chloe Sigerson, although I feel really bad for making her do it because she's clearly absolutely exhausted after that performance. OK, we have loads more reaction and analysis to come to this second semi-final.
My grandmother's house was split by the border, so when she moved from her bedroom into her bathroom or from her living room into her kitchen, she crossed the border. But my dad used to remark that she slept with her head in the Free State and her backside in the north.
You know it's time to start your mortgage journey when you just can't bear watching TV with your parents after 9 p.m. Ready to move, but don't know where to start? Start here with EBS, the Mortgage Masters.
Constantly refining, constantly improving. That's been the Carlsberg way since 1847. The best kind of progress? Probably.
Check this out.
It hasn't been such a long time since people first started shopping online, and it was easy to keep up with the clicks. Little by little by little by more, the clicks added up to be more than the stores, and e-tailers worked harder than ever before because they had to keep up with the clicks. No time for borders, gotta stay in control to stay in the flow and continue to grow. But we'll help you. Keep up with the clicks.
As people, we underestimate the power we possess. The small choices we make all the difference to the world we want to live in. Right now, all across Ireland, we're asking hard questions, like where our energy and what that means for our future. It's why thousands of us have already switched to 100% green energy. Because with our small steps, we have the power to change the world. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green.
Do you ever think of what your skin goes through every day? In game time and playtime. Dove Men Plus Care protects and cares for your skin with triple action moisturizer and 48 hours protection.
To really get Gaelic football, you need to be of a certain type, and that's not you. Do you want to hear my response? This. All those can't compete like us looks. They're not from here talk. Stop that. They're not the same as us guff. They're not built like us excuses. Enough. Bring all the things that make you who you are.
Celebrations from the Rebels looking for their first All-Ireland title since 2018, and they'd be playing the team they beat the 2015 All-Ireland final, and they beat Galway quite comfortably then as well. But we've a feeling this one's going to be a nice tight one. What a victory for Cork today though over the current All-Ireland champions, but not from there's going to be a new name on the cup this year, and what a way to do it as well with that brilliant winner from their captain.
Absolutely, the 62nd minute, like such a win here again, just shows the fighting spirit of Cork. Brilliant ball across, and look up, she's in space again. The space she was afforded there, I just surprised the Kilkenny backs, but a brilliant finish. She's on the 45, has a little look up and puts it straight between the posts to come on. You know, at 49 minutes, get in there, and on the 62nd minute, it kind of was a bit of a whiff of Julia White about it, the year they bet Kilkenny here.
And it shows her character as well. You know, she was due to start, but obviously, you know, Paddy had different ideas. But to show that character to come off the bench and so coolly slotted over the bar was brilliant.
We'll be looking ahead to the final a little bit later, but as things stand, the woman you picked out before as being key to Cork's progress won't be playing after a red card she picked up. This is Orla Cronin.
Yeah, a huge moment in the game, and you know, Cork were really attacking Kilkenny at this stage, but we can see here she kind of shoves Grace Walsh back onto the ground, so we can see again the angle, number 11. She first strikes with the hurl and then shoves her in the face. So I'm assuming anytime you touch someone,
interfere with the face
interfere
guard.
with the face guard, you're in trouble. It was a very silly thing. You know, Orla's not a dirty player in any way, but it was very, very silly, and you know, she's going to be a huge loss for Cork.
This happened in the build-up to what was ultimately the equalising score for Cork. We were having a bit of a wonder there, should the score have stood. Now, we had a little look at the rules. We're pretty sure that actually the referee got that 100% spot on.
Yeah, because we were doubting whether or not Fiona Keaton's point should have stood, but it did. And, you know, we see here the Kilkenny goal. Miriam Walsh, you know, who moved in onto the edge of the square, caught a really brilliant ball from Claire Phelan, and Mary O'Connell got herself in the right position at the right time, and we were kind of expecting, you know, a Kilkenny comeback in that second half, and she finished it brilliantly.
And to think, Joanne, that for the last 7 minutes, Cork were down to 14 players. Like Chloe Segerson mentioned the word composure there. They were so composed. Like every time they got a ball in their hand, they were looking up to see where the next player was to lay off a pass. Like they really gave away very few silly balls out, or you know, they were so good heads up hurling today and looking for the right player in the right place.
A 10th year in charge of this Cork Camogie team for Paddy Murray, and he's into yet another All-Ireland final. Here he is.
Paddy, wow, what a game in the end.
Yeah, probably made life a bit difficult there, probably during the third quarter. I think we lost our shape. Our movement of the ball wasn't what it should be, so we made life probably hard on ourselves. But you know, I've been saying all year, this team has buckets of character. You know, it's a young team. They're trying to develop their own probably little personality, which is starting to come through now, which is good.
Can we talk about that half-back line today? They were absolutely immense. So was the defence, all the other defence there.
Yeah, I thought we competed well, you know, but we've been going well all along, and it's just a bit of confidence this crew need, really, you know.
You're 5 points up at half-time, and then Kilkenny came back in the end.
Yeah, but sure, Kilkenny were always going to come back. They're All-Ireland League champions, so we expected a kick. You know, I was probably a bit upset over that quarter that you know, we just didn't do what we were supposed to do right.
And that goal, did you think there was a big turning point?
Well, look, sure, you know, I think we recovered well from it. Probably looking back on it, it's a goal probably we could have stopped out the field. But, you know, these things are going to happen. We've got to dust ourselves down and get on with it, you know.
What about the red card, so unlike Orla?
Yeah, I didn't see it, so, you know, I thought it was a penalty, actually, looking at it. And I think if we look back on it, it should have been a penalty. So I didn't see the incident.
10th season in charge now, Paddy. You obviously want to make it a memorable one.
I should know. Look, I suppose looking to the final, it's all about just trying to play our own game and trying to deliver a performance. We are going to be under pressure. You look at that Galway sub-spinch, most of those players would play senior with another county, so it is going to be a really, really difficult task for us. I suppose we cling to things. This place has been really good for this team. We lose very few games there. Probably not so much with Galway. They've lost 2 finals here. So, you know, you cling to little things like that. But this is going to be very difficult. There's no point in we saying otherwise.
Yeah, you're so animated on the sideline today, Paddy. You can take a deep breath now. It's all over.
Yeah, look, I'm absolutely gassed. But look, yeah, great win.
Thanks very much, Paddy.
Thanks,
congratulations.
Tree's not done it at all. He's already looking ahead and beginning the mind games. That was absolutely sensational. He talked about buckets of personality and buckets of character and building their own character as well. I suppose that's in relation to losing all the players they did do and still managing to get to this peak time and time again.
That's it. And, you know, they were rebuilding there the last couple of years. When you lose the likes of Aoife Murray and Gemma O'Connor even from last year, you're looking to new leaders, even as I just mentioned, Linda Collins, Saoirse McCarthy, you know, she stepped up from intermediate level a couple of years ago, and look at her there today. Then you've the obvious characters like the Hannah Looneys and but for me, there's a nice balance to this team, a nice mix between the youth and the experience. So
Yeah.
I think that's what's standing to Cork today.
He also said that it should have been a penalty anyway.
I'm not sure about that. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic block, to be honest, but that would be typical Paddy, I think.
Well, here's another little look, see if we can have a look and see if there should have been a penalty for Cork somewhere in there.
Yeah, well, maybe there was a slight tug on Katrina Mackey, but I think
that was an outstanding block.
Yeah,
by
you know,
Megan Farrell.
I think, you know, he might be clinging at straws a little bit there, but to me it was more good Kilkenny defending. But I suppose the main talking point from this game will be, you know, Orla Cronin and the red card.
Orla Cronin, the red card, but also we keep coming back to this word character, and the way they are playing, the style of hurling that they obviously want to play, this short passing, building out from the back.
And sometimes it was risky, like they put balls from one side of the field across the goals, you know, across the other side of the field. It worked out today. Yeah. Galway will be looking detail at that game now, and they will see, like, I'd be expecting the Galway forwards to be much tighter, but for the backs, they were so tight on the Kilkenny forwards. Like, they did not let them out of their sight. They were up on their backs all day. Denise Gall was completely nullified, taken out of the game. Yeah. They were really tough and they were really intelligent. But again, coming back to that composure, nearly beyond their years for some of them. Because like some of these girls are new to this scene, you know, and just so composed on the ball.
But I think sometimes when you're young and maybe don't have any fears, you go out and you express yourselves. That's what I feel like Cork did today. I felt maybe Kilkenny were a little bit nervy and didn't really settle into the game, and there was no real flow to Kilkenny's play today. That's credit to Cork too, but Kilkenny will be very, very disappointed.
Well, let's find out what their manager thinks of it. Here's Brian Dowling.
Brian, commiserations. It was a fierce, intense battle in the end.
Look, we're devastated. You lose by a point all Ireland semi-final. You're so close yet so far. And look, we were on the right side of it last year, and just unlucky today. You know, Laura Murphy had a chance at the end, went wide. You know, could have put us a point up, and that's the difference. Small margins, but look. I always say the best team always wins, and you know Cork deserved the victory today. We're just a little bit short, so look, fair play to Cork.
You did have a rocky start, but you came out in the second half and you showed how you were All-Ireland champions last year. Yeah, look, just asked for the girls at half time to up it. I just felt our first half performance wasn't good enough. And look, the one thing we'll always say about these girls, they have character and they'll die with their boots on, and you know nobody can say that. And look, I'm so proud of them, and they've given so much service to Kilkenny Camogie the last number of years. And I think they've been in the last 10 national finals. You know, won the All-Ireland last year. League, and that consistency is unbelievable. And some of all them players, the old Kilkenny Camogie, absolutely nothing. And you know, maybe some of them last time we've seen a Camogie jersey in Kilkenny, but all, you know, they've left the Kilkenny jersey in a better place. They're great ambassadors for Camogie. Did you think that goal was the turning point for you, and that you could have pushed on from there?
Yeah, like I definitely thought at half time we had to get a goal to pull back 5 points, and came at a great time, you know. And I suppose last year we pushed on. This year we even got a point ahead. But look, Cork are a great team, and they kept pushing away, and they probably had that bit of hunger maybe that we had last year. And look, as I said, they deserve the victory. They're the winning team, and you know they're in the All-Ireland final now. We're not, so it's very disappointing. But you know that's reality, and we just have to move on from it.
Yeah, it's not easy. I can see some really disappointed players out there, Brian.
Yes, look, you put so much into it. You know, you put your life on hold, and you know families and people, kids, and you know just everything goes into it. And you know, the train the last number of months, these girls have given me absolutely everything, and since I've been involved for 3 years, I couldn't have asked any more, and just so proud of them now. And look, Kilkenny Camogie's in a great place. The 6 teams in the All-Ireland final, minors are in the All-Ireland final, intermediates in the All-Ireland final. So look, Kilkenny Camogie has a bright future, and I've no doubt these girls will be back again.
Thanks, Brian. Commiserations
Thanks,
again.
lads. Thanks.
Some really interesting words from Brian Dowling there. He seems to be signalling the end of a few things. It's hard to read into exactly who he means and what he means.
Yeah, I suppose that Kilkenny team have a number of really experienced players, but I wouldn't be looking to any major retirements on that Kilkenny setup. Yeah, the likes of Colette Dormer, Denise Gall, Claire Phelan, and that are well experienced players, have 10 plus years playing with Kilkenny, but I don't think any of them need to be rushing into any decision of retirement. I'm not sure what way Brian has fixed himself, but Kilkenny have a bright future. They've a brilliant set of girls here. They were very, very unlucky. It's a game of fine margins, and
it's a massive commitment though from a management team point of view as well.
Yeah.
You know, for Brian Dowling, it's a huge amount of time goes into it, and effort, like being at training so early, and just all the planning that goes on behind the scenes. And it's probably difficult to give a huge amount of time, like Paddy Murray, 10 years. You know, you'd wonder where he gets the time to give such commitment to Cork Camogie.
Yeah, 3 years in, as Brian Dowling was saying, 2 of them as manager. He was a selector, obviously, before that. And he's a decent record. I mean, just squeezed out of an All-Ireland final today. Last year's All-Ireland champions and the league winners just a little while ago.
Yeah, you know, it's been a successful year to a certain extent for Kilkenny. They will be happy that they won the league, but obviously hugely disappointing. And it just shows how difficult it is to retain, you know, the O'Duffy Cup. You know, I remember looking back on our own career, and, you know, retaining the back-to-back is so difficult. And when you have a team like Cork who are so hungry, they haven't been in a final the last 2 years. As Paddy alluded to, their record in Croke Park is really, really impressive, and they're so confident when they're out on that pitch.
Yeah, well, this year it is going to be Cork against Galway in that All-Ireland final. That's where we're going to be looking ahead to next.
How's about drinks later?
I don't trust fellas I don't know.
Get to know me then. Come on, look at his face. How can you refuse?
Full of yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a front. Really super sensitive. She hangs with a bit of a bad crowd. Yeah, I noticed that. Look, there's no way to dress it up. She's a dealer. Right, good to know.
Unlock the drama. Unlock Fair City. An RTE One and RTE Player.
Viva la vita, viva la vita, as beautiful as a dream can be. Viva la vita, la da di da da, as beautiful as a dream can be.
Live every moment. The refreshing Italian taste of Peroni Nastro Azzurro. That's full of life. Peroni Italia.
Looking for a sale that really excites? It's just landed. Now with Virgin Media you can get superfast broadband, TV 360 and Sky Sports or Sky Cinema for only €59 a month for 12 months. See virginmedia.ie. Bring on amazing.
The Harry Corrie Summer Sale ends soon, with great savings in store and online at harrycorrie.com.
Harry Corrie, see what's in store.
I became a healthcare assistant for Bluebird Care because I wanted to make a difference to people's lives. Adults and children by providing companionship and personal care through to helping with more complex needs. I receive training and support to help me to help others, and I love it. In fact, most of the time, it doesn't feel like I'm working at all. So if you're passionate about caring and would like to become a part of the Bluebird Care family, visit bluebirdcarecareers.ie. This is not just a career in care. This is a career with Bluebird Care.
We are back, folks. We can see people again. Can you believe it?
We are born. The sides are level, and the game begins. Fear is a tough opponent. It can take an early lead. Courage is more unpredictable. It takes courage to play the game of your life.
Oh my God. Oh my
and only you can decide the final result. Alliance, we cover courage.
As people, we underestimate the power we possess. The small choices we make all the difference to the world we want to live in. Right now, all across Ireland, we're asking hard questions, like where our energy comes from and what that means for our future. It's why thousands of us have already switched to 100% green energy. Because with our small steps, we have the power to change the world. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green.
Today I want to talk to you about the F word, finances.
Oh my God.
It's not a dirty word.
Chatting about your financial well-being with Bank of Ireland is just a simple way to help take control of your money. Let's talk finances.
That's not right, son.
Book your financial well-being chat with Bank of Ireland.
RTE Sport is giving you the chance to win €10,000 in cash to treat yourself, family and friends to the ultimate Irish getaway and experiences of your choice. So why not check out the Kingdom, where you can kayak the lakes of Killarney or drive the Ring of Kerry, take in magical Mayo and visit the historic town of Westport or climb Croke Patrick. You can take in the best of Ireland and lots more with that €10,000 in cash. How you spend it is completely up to you. For your chance to win, answer this question. Dublin lost their All-Ireland Senior Football semi-final against which of these teams? Was it Meath, Monaghan or Mayo? To enter, call 15 17 71 71 74 or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57001. Calls from the Air network will cost €2.03. Calls from other networks may be higher. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday the 13th of September. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
And right here, we're now looking forward to an epic triple header of All-Ireland finals this day, 2 weeks here in Croke Park, with all games live on RT2. The action starting with Armagh against Wexford, who beat Roscommon 3-18 to 8 points to book their place in the Premier Junior final. That'll start at midday. The intermediate decider then follows at 2 o'clock, with Kilkenny and Antrim squaring off in the attempt to claim the Jack McGrath Cup. And then the senior showdown features Galway and Cork battling it out for the O'Duffy Cup, with that one throwing in at 4:15. So first matchup between them in 6 years. It's good to have a different pairing, isn't it?
It is, but they know each other well. They played each other in the league semi-final this year, and that Aoife Donoghue that day going to full forward, I think that was the turning point of that game. 2019, when Galway won the All-Ireland, they played Cork in an absolute cracking game in a semi-final down in the Gaelic grounds in Limerick, and there was nothing in it down to the wire, but it was Galway's intensity and work rate that won that day. So they're going to have to really up their intensity for the All-Ireland final.
It sounds like it's one really to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think again it's going to be another huge tactical battle, you know, who gets the matchups right, and definitely in around that middle sector, because today the influence of Hannah Looney, Aisling Thompson was vital, and then Niamh Kilkenny in that first game was larding it around the pitch. So I think whoever gets on top of that, you know, sector of the pitch is going to be really.
But in many ways then, do we see a similar game plan from Cork around that middle sector, trying to deny Niamh Kilkenny that space to do what she loves to do?
Absolutely, breaking forward. And that running game that's synonymous with Cork, like we've seen it all before, and they did a lot of it today, dealing with that, you know, holding your position. Do you follow your player? There are so many questions to be asked and answered. And, you know, for the Galway backs, I suppose, cutting out the space and cutting out the supply of ball that was coming in.
Yeah.
Like Cork, they could easily supply ball today. They were able to look up, find their players. You know, they weren't under pressure really at the back when they were striking ball up the field.
Yeah, if you're a Colmer and you're sitting in the stands watching that today, are you plotting your forwards being all over their backs like an absolute rash?
Hannah Looney and Segerson are the first two anyway I'd be looking at to put someone on a marking job for the day.
And also, Kilkenny never really, you know, took on the defender either. I don't know that Kilkenny imposed a huge amount of pressure on that Cork backline. They had so much time on the ball, whereas Galway are going to have to get in their face, in their space as well. The likes of Pamela Mackey, you know, was all over it there today, but she's going to have her hands full against the McGraths, Ailish O'Reilly as well. And the thing about Galway, there's not an over-reliance on one player in the forwards. You know, there's 5 or 6 forwards who are well capable of scoring.
Yeah, it was one of the things you said actually when we were talking about how strong Cork looked. You said Kilkenny didn't really fire today. They didn't put them under a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed, I suppose. Like beforehand, I thought that Kilkenny had a lot more up front, but just it was the performance of that back unit in Cork, you know, and Kilkenny, just the space they gave them as well. And I thought Kilkenny forwards would have performed better today, to be fair.
But you did think when Katie Nolan in particular ran at them in the second half that they did cause issues, despite the fact that Cork's backs were playing so well.
Yeah.
When they were run at, they did struggle to a bit at times.
That's it. And, you know, Katie, it worked so effective. She won 3 vital frees in the second half. And even when Miriam Walsh went in on the edge of the square, I felt that caused, you know, Cork problems. They were, you know, she was a focal point of the attack and she won a brilliant ball for that goal. So I think Galway are going to have to do something similar, but, you know, not maybe be as predictable with their play times, because it broke down in the second half of that first game where Galway were winning so much at the puckouts, but it became too predictable and Tip copped on to that. So Cork are going to be working on that for sure.
We heard Paddy Murray there say that, you know, Galway haven't had a great recent record. They were all Ireland champions a couple of years ago, but he was talking about Croke Park is home from home for Cork, even for the younger players.
And unfortunately, Galway against Cork hasn't had a great record either. So Paddy will know that. It's like a monkey on our back in Galway, I'm afraid. This Cork, you know, and a tactical battle in this running game. But, like, I think the team of more recent Galway teams, you know, have dealt better with that running game from Cork. And I think it's all about the intensity that they bring to it and the work rate, and especially the work rate in the forwards, not to be letting the backs hit this perfect ball up and deliver a lovely low ball into the forwards, because Cork have forwards that can score as well, but Galway have similar forwards to Katie Nolan, the likes of Aoife Donoghue, midfield Niamh Kilkenny, running at that Cork defence. And I think if Galway played a bit wider, they played it tight enough today at times, if they can play it wide. But look, Paddy is going to be looking at that full forward line, and he's going to know well that Galway are going to, you know, threaten the full back line, and he's going to be well prepared for that.
And they'll need more than the likes of Aoife Donoghue and Niamh Kilkenny to turn up, which didn't really happen a lot today.
Yeah, and I suppose some of the more unsung heroes on that Galway team, like the Catherine Finnertys and Sarah Spellmans, you know, maybe had quieter games than normal. But the thing about Galway, they do have a strong bench as well. I'd like to see some of those girls like the Rebecca Henleys, Niamh McGraths, you know, even Maria Cooney
could get called up now if Emma Hedlebert is in trouble, you know.
Yeah, and I think that might be, you know, crucial, especially in the final, because we could see the impact of the subs today, how Linda Collins came on, got that winning score. I feel Galway have possibly a stronger bench, and that could be very vital in the final.
I've called it very wrong today, so I don't know.
When you look at the free taking as well of Chloe Sigerson from long distance, that obviously then plays a part in how you approach things, doesn't it? Because you know you can't give away too many frees
down. And Orla Cronin was quite good on the frees today as well. So you really do have to keep the free counts down.
But if she's missing in the final, you know, it's
there's an interesting 10 days ahead now of what will happen between red cards rescinded or, you know, given and taken back, or what will happen.
This is for anybody who missed a little bit earlier. Dervla Higgins for a goal was sent off, but we're pretty sure it was mistaken identity. So we don't know if Emma Hedlebert, who's possibly was the guilty party in that, will face any action, and if Dervla will end up getting off for that final. But it looks difficult for Orla Cronin based on the pictures we've seen, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you can clearly see that, you know, she used the hurl and then her face to interfere with Grace Walsh's helmet. And I think if you do
interfere with the helmet,
you're in trouble straight away.
But just explain just what a loss she is then to Cork.
Well, she's so key to this, because she's very versatile, that she can play anywhere along the half forward line and in the full forward line. She's the free taker, she is the instigator of so many scores, but also so comfortable in taking her own scores, and she'd be a huge loss and one of the main players for Cork in the last 6-7 years.
Just her ability to run at defences as well, run at a centre back, take them on. She's very powerful, you know, she's athletic. Yeah, she's very strong. She'll be a big loss if she's gone for Cork.
Well, as our evening comes to a close here at Croke Park, don't forget there is lots more sport to look forward to here on RT2, including you can watch all of the day's action from Tokyo, including a gold medal. That's in today at the Paralympics. It's on RT2 at 8 o'clock. And straight after that, you can catch full highlights and analysis of all the weekend's Gaelic games on the Sunday game from 9:30. Plus a major midweek match to look forward to on Wednesday as the Republic of Ireland resume their World Cup qualification campaign with a tough trip to Portugal in Group A. Build-up starts at 7 o'clock. That's it from us here in Croke Park. Thank you to Ursula and to Anne-Marie. Galway and Cork move one step closer to All-Ireland Championship glory. From all of us here, bye-bye.
I never listen when you say I care. Oh, what? I got good stuff. 'Cause I'm high on my horse and I'm not coming down soon.
What is it about local drama that just gets under your skin? Maybe it's because it shows your life. Or a version of it. The path less traveled, some roads never taken.
Get rid of these.
Maybe it's because it shows you the person you wish you could be. Or the one you're frightened you'll become. And then one thing that everyone will be talking about is whose side they're actually on.
I don't know where you are, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. And I will find you. And
He's talking to the fish.
He's talking to himself.
He's talking to the fish.
When it comes to finding you great quality fish, we never quit. Donegal Catch, we're all about the fish.
It's never too late for a big clean. Grab all of this for less than €3. Tesco. Every little helps.
Kids, you all strapped in?
Yeah.
Like getting your money's worth? Then enjoy a freshly prepared €1.50 mayo chicken, part of the McDonald's Eurosaver menu.
Check this out.
It hasn't been such a long time since people first started shopping online, and it was easy to keep up with the clicks. Little by little by little by more, the clicks added up to be more than the stores, and e-tailers worked harder than ever before because they had to keep up with the clicks. No time for borders. Gotta stay in control to stay in the flow and continue to grow. But we'll help you. Keep up with the clicks.
Being there at every stage of your home journey, that's permanent support. Start your journey home with us today.
This season, with over 1,000 live games, witness all the action.
Bring it on. It doesn't get much better than that. What a stunning save that is. Has he got up his sleeve here? Oh, yeah! That is absolutely wonderful.
Over 1,000 live games, including every single live Premier League game and much more on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sport. All in one place on Sky.
Welcome to Tesco Mobile.
This beauty got a cracking camera on it. And I'll throw in some never-ending data if you like.
So that's one brand new smartphone for you and 99% coverage for your calls, texts and data.
And why not add our new €15 family plan, which gives each family plan member never-ending data. And you'll only get one bill. This is Supermarket Mobile. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Rockshore Hard Seltzer. Refreshing taste with a splash of fruit flavor. Rockshore Hard Seltzer.
I'm going where the sun keeps shining through the pouring rain. Going where the I can't wait to see you. Suits my clothes. Backing over the northeast.
We've really missed travel, so whenever you're ready to travel again, Dublin Airport and Cork Airport are ready to help.
An English army officer about to be executed by the IRA writes to his wife to tell her this, for her later to discover he was on his way to meet another woman. Doc on One I Am to Be Shot is available wherever you get your podcasts, but now exploring the weapons used in the kill or be killed, it's Animal Arms Race.